What's up guys, Perry from Rockville here, and today I'm going to show you how to set up the RPA40BT home stereo 4-channel amplifier. As you can see, it comes with the amplifier itself, a wireless remote, and an antenna for the FM radio. To connect the antenna, you're just going to line it up to the FM radio port here on the back of the amp, and then just tighten the nut to secure it to the amp. From there you can raise the antenna and extend it as high as you need for the best FM radio signal. So if we take a look at the back of the amplifier, you'll see that we have 4 different channels or zones that we can use to connect our speakers. Each channel or zone is 4 ohm stable, so you can use that knowledge when connecting your speakers or series of speakers. So for example, you can set up 2 8 ohm speakers in parallel to each channel or zone, giving you the ability to use 8 speakers in total. When connecting your speakers, you just want to be sure that the total load of the speakers you're using doesn't fall below 4 ohms per channel or zone. Here's a chart of all the different speaker combinations you can have set up to your amp. And if you want to learn more about how to parallel wire your speakers to your amplifier, check out a video we have on that. Now the terminals on the back of your speaker are Euroblock terminals, and we can actually take them out, which is really handy because it makes connecting the speaker wire a lot easier. If the terminals don't come out at first, you're just going to want to be sure to loosen the screws here on this side of each terminal. If you wanted to set up longer runs between your amplifier and your speakers, we recommend using thicker gauge speaker wire, and this is really important because that may affect the quality and the volume coming out of your speaker between these runs. So now let's go over how to connect our speakers to our amplifier. For today, I'm using 4 8 ohm speakers, and I'm going to set them up to each channel or zone. Again, you can refer to the chart that we showed you earlier if you wanted to use an alternative setup. And again, if you want to learn about parallel wiring, check out our video on that. So we can start by taking out one of our Euroblock terminals here. Again, if they don't come out at first, you're just going to loosen each screw on the side of the terminal, and from there you should be able to take it right off. You're actually going to want to be sure to open up the actual terminals inside here by loosening these screws on the top. Now on the back of the amplifier, it's actually going to tell you which side is the positive and which side is the negative for each channel or zone. So you can take the red positive wire here and plug that into the left positive terminal, and then connect the black negative wire to the right negative terminal. Once we have the wires inside of our terminals here, I'm going to take my flathead screwdriver and tighten the screws on top so that the terminals close up. And after that, your speaker wires are going to be nice and secure to your terminals. We can follow the same exact steps for the rest of our speaker wire and our Euroblock terminals here. So now that we've got our speaker wire all set up to our Euroblock terminals here, we're going to take each Euroblock terminal and plug them back into each channel on the back of our amp. Lastly, we're going to take our flathead screwdriver and tighten the screws on each side of each terminal to secure them to the amplifier. After that, you can take the other end of each speaker wire and plug them into your speakers. So now we've got our speakers all set up to our amplifier, let's go ahead and turn it on. So now if we take a look at the front of the amplifier, you'll notice that we have independent volume controls for each channel or zone on the amplifier. One thing to keep in mind is that channels A and C are left channels, while channels B and D are right channels for a stereo configuration. So we can adjust each of these knobs to mix in how much we want to hear from each channel or zone. You can also set the amplifier to mono mode by pressing this button on the back of the amp here. By pressing this button, the left and right channels will play a balanced mix, which is handy if you want to have multiple speakers set up to multiple rooms and have the speakers play the same thing throughout. If you want to learn more about multi-room setups with this amplifier, check out a video that we made for that. On the front of the amp, you'll also notice we have 2 mic inputs so we can connect microphones to the amp. So to demonstrate, I'm going to take a microphone and a female XLR to 1/4 inch cable. I'm going to plug the XLR end into my mic, then plug the other end into one of the 1/4 inch mic inputs. For today, we'll use mic 1. Now, if we wanted to hear the microphone coming out of each channel or zone, we're going to raise the level knob for each channel or zone. We're also going to want to raise the mic 1 volume knob. And now if I turn on my microphone, check 1, 2, you should be able to hear my voice coming out of each speaker. What's also really cool is that we have an echo knob here so we can give our voice an echo effect. So the more I raise it, the more echo you'll hear. We also have the treble and bass knob to adjust the overall sound coming out of our amp. The bass knob will control all of the low-end frequencies coming out. So for example, the more I raise it, check 1 2, check 1 2, the more bass you'll hear. And the lower I have this knob, check 1 2, check 1 2, the less low end you hear. The treble knob will affect the high-end frequencies or the presence of the amp. So the more I raise this, check 1 2, check 1 2, the more presence you'll hear coming out. And the lower I set this knob, check 1 2, check 1 2, the less presence you hear. Now we can have multiple sources connected to the amplifier at the same time, including your TV. For today, we're going to show you how to set up your TV through the optical input. Now first, you're just going to want to make sure that your TV has an optical output that can be used for audio. It should say something like audio out optical if it can. So with that, you're going to take your optical cable, plug one end into the optical output on the back of your TV. Once you do that, you'll know your TV is sending out signal because the other end of your optical cable is going to light up red. So you'll take that lit up end and plug it into the optical input on the back of your amplifier, and just be sure to take this cap off of the optical input first. Next, you can go to the amplifier and go to this input selector right here and set it all the way to the right for optical mode. You'll also want to be sure to raise the input volume knob right here. Now on your TV, you're going to want to go to the audio settings and switch the output from TV speakers to audio out optical. You can also go into the advanced or expert settings and switch the audio format to PCM so that your TV is sending out the stereo signal to your amplifier. Then to hear the TV coming out of your speakers, you're just going to want to raise the volume knob for each channel or zone you have set up. Now this makes for a great karaoke setup since you can go into the YouTube app on your TV, search for any karaoke version of a song, plug in a microphone or two right into the amp, and start singing along with the lyrics on your TV while the music and your voice is being heard through your speakers. We can also connect our aux devices to the amp here using the RCA input on the back of the amp. So we can connect anything with RCA outputs like a TV, record or DVD player, etc. and plug it right into this input. From there, we're going to set our source knob to the middle for aux mode and raise the input knob and the volume control for each channel or zone we're using. We can also use the RCA output to expand our setup even further with additional speakers, subwoofers, or even another amplifier. Now if we take a look underneath the LED display here on the front of the amplifier, you'll see we have all of these different controls here for the amplifier. So we have the mode buttons to switch which mode we have our amp set to between Bluetooth, FM radio, or RCA mode. We also got the pause play button, the menu or record button so we can record anything coming from our microphones that are plugged into the amplifier onto a USB stick or an SD card. We also have the repeat button, the previous button, and the skip forward button. You'll also see on the front of the amp we can plug in a USB stick or an SD card to play MP3s, and the amplifier also has Bluetooth compatibility so we can connect any smartphone or tablet. To do that, we're first going to set our amplifier to Bluetooth mode by pressing the mode button until the LED display shows that it's in Bluetooth. You're also going to want to set your input selector all the way to the left for Bluetooth mode and make sure that the input volume is also raised. This is the same setting you're going to want to have it set to for your USB stick or your SD card. Next, you're going to go into the Bluetooth settings of your smartphone or tablet, search for the device that reads RPA40BT, click on it to pair, and then you'll hear that sound letting you know your device is connected. So let's hear how the amp sounds. Nice. Sounds good. Let's wait for that song to kick in now. Oh yeah. Yeah, sounds great. Last but not least, we have the wireless remote that we can use to control all of these different features. We also have a power button, a mute button, and this EQ button here so we can set our amp into preset EQs. So hopefully this showed you guys how easy it is to set up your RPA40BT 4-channel home stereo amplifier. But of course, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to reach out to our customer support team through phone or email. As always, I'm Perry from Rockville, and we'll see you guys next time.